Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Dorbin number 483A. This is an offset or a half saddle threshold from Dorbin, and is a relatively common piece of equipment that you're going to be able to use to great effect to solve pretty common problems. So this is a half saddle. If this was, if our beveled or ramped edge repeated over here, it would be a full saddle, but they've created this into a half saddle. And really what this is meant to do is mostly to transition between two uneven floor surfaces. You'll very commonly see a half saddle installed in the gas station. You walk in, you've got some tile that's going to be on the inside. Maybe not compatible with a quarter-inch tall. You might need a half-inch tall half saddle, which Dorbin can certainly supply. But you're going to transition between that sill underneath the door to that floor surface. Okay, and this is what allows you to do that. 3-inch, nothing uncommon about that. They do make smaller. They make larger, 2-inch, 4-inch, 5-inch. Technically, you can make any size that you want by buying a large saddle threshold and literally cutting it down to length, which is what Dorbin's done here. They've taken obviously a larger threshold and have cut it, which is atypical for manufacturers to do. Dorbin's the only company I'm aware of that takes an extrusion that is obviously something other than a half saddle extruded piece of equipment and rips it down. I don't personally have a problem with that. I would be very mindful of running my hand down the edge of it. It's a concealed edge. You'd not see it at all, and I don't really think that I would cry foul over such a thing. However, they're the only people who are taking saddle thresholds and ripping them down. Anyway, moving forward. So your application will be to transition between two uneven floor surfaces. You might use something like this to mitigate a different problem. You might use it as sill nosing, not necessarily nosing. You might use it as a sill extender, I mean to say. You might have a residential application where you have a wood or an aluminum adjustable top threshold that might be 4 9/16 wide or 5 3/4, but you have an 8-inch deep sill situation. And what might be really elegant is to take a threshold like this and butt it up to the existing threshold just to extend that out, and do so in an extension sort of application. And while lots of those residential type thresholds that we sell as well have sill extensions available, those sill extensions are available in typically only 3 sizes: 3/4 inch, 2-inch, and then 3-inch. Well, what if you had a 12-inch deep sill? Not unusual at all. My prior home had a sill that was probably every bit of 10-inch, and the threshold that was there absolutely required an extension, and could have used an extension that was probably 2 inches deeper or wider than the one that was installed. So how you use this sort of an offset or a half saddle is really just limited by imagination. It's aluminum. It can be cut easily by you in the field. It can be cut by the factory to custom sizes as well, whatever you really need. So this is a 483, and that stands for the fact that it is 3-inch wide, a little shy on that, 1/4 inch tall. Okay, this will have an ADA compliant slope to the front of this bevel, which won't be a problem at all. This is in the A designation, which means mill aluminum. There's no finish on it, it's just raw extruded aluminum. Also available in the D for dark bronze finish, which would be I believe it's a powder-coated finish over aluminum. They're not anodizing that material, as far as I know. Another way in which I think Dorbin deviates from the standard. I believe they're powder coating it. Having said that, it's listed in the website in several different lengths, everything from 2 foot to 8 foot. You can have any length that you want, probably up to about 16 feet. The only downside of very long lengths is the cost to transport it. If you need one 10-foot piece, it will be noticeably expensive to ship it. if you needed 75 12-foot pieces, the cost is not going to be a concern, as it would be if it was a small quantity. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field the net length that you'd like for us to cut the material back to. Now the reasoning is, not only will it save you from having to cut the material, it is just aluminum, but you do need a saw to do so, but it will save you the trouble of having to potentially rework your holes. This is probably about 4 inches off the edge, and if you were to take this 36-inch piece and cut it down to 32-inch, you're going to eliminate that hole or render it unusable. So if you ordered a custom length, we'll not only cut it to length, give you that first dimple at the proper distance from the edge, but the proper center to center as well. And speaking of those holes, screws are included in a complementary type finish. This is obviously a number 10 by maybe 1.25 inch flathead wood screw, Phillips drive. Okay. Dorbin can also assist with other anchoring requirements as well. I personally wouldn't install a threshold with a plastic anchor and a wood screw. I would use, if I had my, if it was my decision to make, I would be using lead anchors with machine screws. That would give you an incredibly durable installation. Thresholds take a lot of force, not only stepping on it, but laterally as well. And if you've ever walked over a threshold and heard a clank sound, you know, you stepped on it, yeah, that's a failed installation. And it's really hard to mitigate that sort of problem after the ground below is kind of erupted out and has been ovalized, or you've got part of a fastener that's stuck down in there. I think it's better to do it right the first time. Also, when you're installing it, certainly wouldn't hurt to run a bead of caulk down below here. This design from Dorbin doesn't give us much of a serrated, it's flat. Other thresholds are partially serrated on the bottom to give you more surface area. You know, but you'll want to run a bead of caulk and wipe that off. Certainly seal that at the bottom as best you can. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Dorbin products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Dorbin is a company that has literally been supplying weather stripping products since the 1930s. There's a interesting canceled check from my great-grandfather to Dorbin, I think somewhere right around World War II, right before, I forget what it is, right before or right after. And it just expresses the relationship between my family and this company when it comes to weather stripping. If you have any questions on the Dorbin 483A mill aluminum finish, half saddle, 3-inch wide, 1/4 inch tall threshold, or any other Dorbin product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.